Hi, welcome to the podcast episode, The 3 Lies I Told Myself, and the one truth that set me free. 4 years, haven't heard his voice, wondering if he's alive. He definitely hates me. Not celebrating his birthday. The worst part, some days I forget what he sounds like, and some days I'm relieved that I don't have to hear him lie to me anymore. I'm Nina, and this is what it's really like to be the mother of an addict who doesn't want to be found. You know, it's interesting because you're not going to get clinical help here. I don't have a degree. I'm just me, a mom, sitting on the wreckage of what was supposed to be my son's life and mine. Years I told myself 3 lies, and those lies almost killed me. Not literally, though. Some days I wish they would. But they killed the person I used to be. The mother who thought love could cure anything. I was the woman that believed, the harder I try, I read books, I learned about different treatments, what's available. I learned about mental illness. I did everything I could. Still, nope. Today, I'm going to tell you about these 3 lies and the one truth that finally set me free. Not free from the pain and not free from wondering, but free from the belief that I could control any of this. If you're listening and it's 2 a.m. because you can't sleep, because your phone is next to you on the nightstand and you're praying it rings, or praying it doesn't, I see it. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Let's talk about the lies. Lie number 1. If I love him enough, he'll stop. Really? I believed this for a long time. I thought love was the antidote. I thought, if I could just show him how much I cared, how much I was willing to sacrifice, how many times I'd forgive him, he'd see. He'd wake up. He'd choose me over the drugs. So I proved my love in every way I thought was right. I paid his rent. When he got evicted, again, I bailed him out. I literally and figuratively, I let him back into my home after he stole from me the first time and the second time. I told myself he's sick. He doesn't mean it. This is the disease, not my son. I made him his favorite meals when he'd show up. He'd call me crying and wanting money for food. I held him when he cried and swore he was done using. He wanted to get help. I believed every single time because that's what mothers do, right? We believe. Boy, did I hope. We love harder when the world gives up. But here's what nobody told me. My love was never the problem, and my love was never going to solve the solution. The moment I realized this, really realized it, was after rehab number 3. No 4. I lost that count. He'd been sober for, 8 months, where I let myself breathe, where I thought, okay, this time, this is it. And then he relapsed. And he walked out, just left. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor, just crying, thinking about him. What did I do wrong? How am I going to solve this? I love him so much. Did I smother him? I did the wrong things. Did I not give him enough space? And then the thought crushed me. Maybe my love doesn't matter to him anymore. Maybe the drugs love him more than I ever could. That's when I learned the truth about lie number 1. Love is not a weapon against addiction. Boy, I wish it was. Love cannot compete with fentanyl. Love cannot override the way his brain has been rewired. And then the drugs and the mental illness and the psychosis. How are you going to turn that around if they don't even think they have a problem? My love, fierce, unconditional, mother to the bone love. Never enough. And it never was going to be. That didn't mean I love him less. It just means finally stop believing that love could save him. Only he can save himself, and he hasn't chosen to. Not yet, and maybe not even ever. And that, my friends, was lie number 1 to myself. Lie number 2 was I could fix this if I just find the right rehab. That was on my mind from the beginning. If I just place him in this one spot, everything's going to be okay. Well, that didn't work. After a month, it was nice because it felt like, wow, I'm relieved. Wow, this could work, right? Didn't mean a thing. Holistic treatments, diagnosis treatments. I called intake coordinators. I asked about success rates like I was shopping for cars. And all I got was, there's a 95% rate that your child will have to go to rehab again. I spent so much money. I mean, it didn't matter. I didn't matter. But I wasn't looking for Malibu. I really wasn't. I was looking for a place for me to feel safe that he was in. That was safe. And away from the drugs. That was, to me, the most important. At the time, at the first rehab, I didn't realize that a month wasn't enough. I should have. Maybe because I was learning so much about addiction and trying to figure out what everything was all about and the mental illness component. But I just wasn't there to be able to comprehend that this is a lifetime. This is not something where you put them and you feel safe and you think they're safe. Nope, that's just not how it is. Well, he should have stayed actually probably 6 months. 1 month is a drop in the bucket. Don't even bother. It has to be a long time. It has to be that he has therapy every day, ongoing, people with him, evaluating, trying to get him to where he needs to be able to get back into life and reality. Wow, there was no right anymore. But I can't fix him. I can't find the magic cure. I can't research my way out of this nightmare. The only person who could fix it is him. And right now, wherever he is, he's not choosing that. So all my research, all my planning, and all my late night Googling, which I didn't have as much back then as you have today, and the research that they had back then, I mean, they had 411 for me to call. I wish they had a podcast for me to listen to. They didn't have anything like this. Nobody that I could relate to. I was just another way to avoid the truth. I was trying to control the uncontrollable, because if I stayed busy trying to fix him, I didn't have to sit with the reality that he might never come back. That was lie number 2 to myself. And lie number 3, this is my fault. This is the one that almost destroyed me. I actually made lists of everything I did wrong as a mother. I really took it against myself that the divorce came too early. Times I worked too late. How stressed out I was. How I fought with him. How I acknowledged his grades and his lack of wanting to go to school, even though he was a genius. He still is. Not understanding or seeing the depression side of this early enough, and blaming myself for not acting on it, thinking that it was just him and his personality at that particular moment. I took inventory of every mistake, every harsh word I said, every time I wasn't patient enough and wasn't present enough. And you know what made it worse? Other people agreed with me. Not out loud and not directly, but I could see it in their faces. And I even went on a date with a guy once, and he actually said, not knowing that I even had a son that I was experiencing these difficulties with, and he said, "Oh, those parents that have addicts, and I wouldn't date those kind of people because you could see they just had really poor child rearing." I laid it into this guy. I will never forget it. I took an Uber home. I was in a really nice restaurant at the time, and I looked across the table and I said to the guy, "You got 3 kids, and right now you think they are all perfect. Man, I hope you spend the rest of your life with perfect children that you consider perfect. But reality is, one day, that perfect is going to shatter. It's going to crash down somewhere. You don't know when it's going to be. And I hope for your sake it doesn't. But when it does, remember this day. It's not your fault. It's the way life is. Life is not perfect. It's messy. And when it's not messy, you really should consider what's underneath that's not showing up yet. Then you'll see how messy life is and can be. And I put everything into my children. I will never let anyone in my life or around me blame me or allow myself to blame myself for not being a good mom, because that's just not true. You know, even when I have these experiences that I remember years and years of blaming myself and the lies that I told myself, it's my fault and I should feel bad for certain things. Even if I'd been a perfect mother, even if I never yelled, never worked late, never divorced, never passed down the wrong genes, never. Nothing would have changed. Rich, poor, from parents who did everything right and parents who did everything wrong. This is not my fault or yours. It's not his father's fault. It's not even his fault. Not entirely. Addiction, mental illness, it's a liar and a thief. And it doesn't ask permission. It didn't cause this. And accepting it doesn't mean I stop loving him. It means I stop destroying myself with guilt that serves no one, no purpose. And that was my third lie. The truth, I had to choose to live. So I lived. Disappeared with him or learned to live. For years I was disappearing, slowly, quietly. My shoulders were so heavy, it was like I was carrying bricks around all day. Just waiting for him to call, worrying about him, where he is, what problem he's going to get me into, and bracing for whatever crisis was going to come. Cars, ruining them. I stopped seeing friends as much. I was a little more secluded. I didn't really have much to say to people, because how do you make small talk when your son's dying? How do you laugh at a dinner party when you don't know if he's safe? I stopped doing things I used to love. I didn't even know what those were anymore. The guilt of living while he was dying, it ate me up alive. But then I realized something. He's been gone for years. Years before he was really gone. And in those years, I'd been holding my breath, waiting for him to come back to the person he was before the addiction and mental illness started, so I could exhale. But what if he never comes back? And I supposed to stop living until then? Am I supposed to put my entire life on pause? No way. For someone who won't even answer my calls. That was years ago. I haven't even attempted to call him in many, many years now. The turning point came on a Friday. A call at 3 a.m. Nothing ever good comes then. I'm sitting there and I refused. I woke up, but I refused to answer the call. It obviously got him more upset and more upset because I wasn't answering the call, so he called me again. And then he proceeded to leave me a horrible, horrible message. Attacking me, blaming me, accusing me of horrible, horrible things. And then he texted his brother and father and me at the same time and reiterated all the horrible things about all of us and all the horrible things I did to him and that he accused me of. And then I realized, that's it. I'm moving on. There is no stopping him. We thought he was going to commit suicide. We weren't sure what was going to happen that particular weekend. And I had a whole weekend event for someone close to us, and I had to go. And the last thing I wanted to do was do that. But you know what? I'm proud of myself that I went. I'm proud of myself that I didn't let him ruin another minute, not another day, not another hour. Now I look back and he ruined and stole so many milestones from me to enjoy. But you know what? I couldn't expect that from someone who was so ill. So at the end of the day, I got my life back. And I will never let anyone take my life from me again. And the truth is that I'm actually happy. I'm okay. I don't wait every day for a call, knowing it's going to come one day. I prepare. I see a therapist once a week. Even when I feel like I have nothing to say, I say, and something always comes up. Why? Yeah, after a couple of months, who even needs it? You need it. You need it because that day is going to come. And then you're so much more prepared. Because I look back and realize how many years I have prepared myself for something horrible that potentially could come sooner than later. And in my lifetime. And how will I react? What will my life look like? What will it be like? I don't know. I just hope that I continue on this path of living my life and not thinking about him every day. And I try to actually pull the good memories, the laughs, the funny times, his personality, the things he had to offer everyone and in this world, and especially how smart he was. But at the same time, I also see how cruel he was. He was cruel to me. He was cruel to his father, cruel to his brother. And he really imploded our entire family. And that, I could say, was a cruel, cruel thing. Although he has an illness, yes, he does. But it doesn't help. The excuse is not there. So at the end of the day, I'm proud I took my life back. I'm proud I have hobbies. And I have time to have hobbies. I'm proud that I found the time to have those hobbies. That I was able to look deep inside and say, I got to release this stuff on my shoulders. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I can't carry it around. And when that day happens, you just don't know when it's going to be. I didn't have to lie anymore to myself. Subconsciously, I knew it anyway, but it was easier to bring it out once I knew that my days of trying to fix this were never happening again. And it's interesting because I will leave you with this. The one thing my therapist has asked me through the years, if he comes knocking at the door, what would you do? What would you say? And for many times, I didn't know how I'd react. I felt like, maybe I'd cave in. Maybe I'd just go back to, oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. No. One, I would never open the door. Nope. Number two, I'd tell him to come in the backyard. Let's talk there. I'm going to talk to you through the door over there. Let's get on our phones. We'll have a conversation. It's very nice to see you. And I'm happy you look the way you do or wherever he is in his life. But that's a fantasy because that's not happening. I don't believe that's going to happen. Once your kid has psychosis and numerous times, it's very hard for them to get out of that psychosis. And I've been through quite a few of those with him. And this last one, which was number 4, put him over the edge. And so he will never admit to anything about him having any problems. Everybody else has it. And he will fight to the end of his life on that. So I will leave you with that. I hope this helped. Thanks for listening. Continue listening. And I wish you all well.